To weigh in on these topics, U.S. Representative and former sheriff in Duval County, John Rutherford, back here on the morning show. Hey, good morning. Welcome.
Good to be with you, Bruce.
Good to have you here. So as a former law enforcement officer, I want to get your take. The Attorney General reduced a 300-page report to 4 pages. When you look at that, do you think you can get an accurate take on what that report really was about? And should he release the full report?
No, I think you can. And I mean, think about it. We have jury trials that last for, days. And it comes down to guilt or innocence. I mean, that's really what Barr was doing. He was explaining the prosecutorial decision of that 300-page report. And it determined that the president had not, and his campaign and those with him, had not colluded with the Russians, and that he had not committed with corrupt intent any kind of obstruction of justice.
Well, there was no definitive conclusion.
No, well, he left it to the Attorney General, but he found no corrupt intent. If he had, then you would have obstruction.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you can't indict a citizen.
But here's the thing, and I think it's kind of funny that, and we're going to talk about ACA. I know, but the Democrats passed ACA without even reading the bill and knowing what's in it. Now they want to read everything in this bill or in this finding, and I agree with that. We need to put that as much as we can. But I also know this: there's going to be tremendous angst when the final report comes out, because I know grand jury information, unless you're on the E6 list and you're allowed to have that information, it's not going to be made public. It can't be.
He can't legally.
He cannot legally release that information. And there's 12 other criminal referrals that the special counsel referred out. Anything surrounding those 12 investigations, I understand there's 12, anything surrounding those 12 investigations cannot be released either.
Well, Congress can go ahead and subpoena certain things. There's a little-known law that people don't know about. Hasn't been invoked since 1934, so we'll see what that happens. You bring up the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. We are going to talk about that. There's a big battle. The president made it clear he's going to make that a centerpiece of his re-election campaign, and he wants to have it repealed. And Representative Joe Kennedy actually made some comments about that just yesterday.
They have no plan. They haven't had a plan. Republican colleagues will concede that they have no plan. There is no concrete decision from any Republican Congress that if this court case is successful, what would happen next? And look, understand that if the Affordable Care Act in its entirety is struck down, this will affect almost every single American.
So basically what he's saying is, okay, the GOP doesn't have a plan. If the ACA is struck down, it leaves Americans hanging when it comes to health care.
Well, this decision is obviously going to go to the Supreme Court, I believe, which is going to give Congress time to come together. We do have a plan. If we just want to go back and pick up the plan that we tried to pass in 3 pieces in the 115th Congress, which, by the way, did cover pre-existing conditions. I know during the midterms in 18, there were a lot of discussions and a lot of misinformation out there about the GOP plan that it didn't cover pre-existing conditions. It absolutely did. And it kept children on their parents' plan until the age of 26, which was really 2 elements of ACA that even Republicans all agreed with. What we were most concerned about was the individual mandates. When we were able to strip those out through the Tax Reform and Jobs Act. But the Republican Party is strongly behind covering pre-existing conditions. And this scare tactic that Senator Schumer and others are using to try and convince the American public that Republicans do not want to cover pre-existing conditions is just false. It's in our American Health Care Act that and we shouldn't have, but we ripped it into 3 pieces to try and pass it last time. I think we should bring that bill together as one full piece and now present it to the American public because all of the real cost savings was actually in phase 2 and phase 3. But of course, we never got that far.
We didn't get that far. And too often we don't get as far as we need to because politics get in the way.
Right.
And I think
Right.
everybody can agree about that. Ran out of time, didn't get to the paid family leave, but, you know, that's for another day. Congressman,
Okay.
always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Talk